We live in both places, beautiful people. Hold on, I gotta find my iPad because we're reading from that. If I can't find it, I'm gonna have to open it up on my Kindle online. Hold on 1 second. Are you telling this story or am I? Mother. Shalom, shalom. Can't find my iPad. I think I might have left in a truck last night. So I'm gonna have to bring up the Kindle on this so I can read from here. Get this plugged in. Sorry, y'all gotta go looking for it. All right, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Monday. It is April the 4th, 2022. Day 73 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets. Another 4-year consecutive day count. Day 1091. Today, we will be reading Tablet X. Yes, Tablet X in the complete Annunaki Bible. We're going to read a little bit more of what the ancients will have their disciples to know. Blessings, in tongue tie. Blessings, Levon. Blessings. All right. Let's do this. All right. Okay. I think we're good. Let me pull this up so I got it ready to go. Peace and blessings, Tiffany. So bona ya. Hold on, pull this up. Kindle. Disciples. Yes. The Kindle. Read now. Yes. Okay, y'all. Now let's go back to I never really look at it from here. I gotta find my spot. Okay, highlight 42. Okay, boom. Okay, yeah. Talking about the born again. Must pass through a second birth. Okay, and we pause. We got sidetracked with our marriage counselor story yesterday. Hold on. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, they got that right there. Got that saved. It's almost in a spot. We'll just go back a little paragraph. Okay. All right, beautiful people. Let me bring this back up. Okay. Auntie Shalom, Belinda Brown. Shalom. Okay, beautiful people. Couldn't find my iPad, so I had to bring up my Kindle up here and find my spot for the book. All right. Father, thank you for another day. Be with us. Help us to understand all that we learn and translate that into wisdom for our life. All right, beautiful people. Tablet X of the complete Annunaki Bible. We might definitely get through all the Tablet X because half of it is just sigils that I'm going to show you. All right. So Tablet X is entitled Book of Crossings and the Ilu Stargates. Ilu is I-L-U. Remember, it starts with a little blurb before it actually gets into it. Okay. Here continues the Book of Crossings, describing how our physical universe operates on the fundamental geometry of metaphysical vibration. Defined measures of energetic currents or vibrations are what wizards and mystics understand as magical correspondences. Energetic polarity of a specific current is allocated across many systems of correspondence. For example, colors, planets, days of the week. Emphasis should not be on fragmentation of levels, the separation of the whole into parts, only to find more separate relationships and correspondences is not the best way back to true unification. Truth is found in the dissolution of the grand equation to zero, or 2 equals 0, as mystics and some modern occult traditions have explained. And then it has reference 113. It says, see also Sumerian Religion by Joshua Free, also available in the year 2 Mardukite anthology, Gates of the Necronomicon, edited by Joshua Free. Accessing the powers of the gates requires activation and or dissolution depending on your semantic preferences of the astral form or body of light paradigm, and then envisioning the gate in the astral world. Increased familiarity and true knowledge or true experience developed from working with individual currents and the lore they represent increases the gatekeeper's chances for energetic, conscious connection or communication. While there are glamours, while they are glamours in themselves, each of these veils of existence must be confronted by the seeker on their ascent back to the source, or on a journey back to Yah, right? To the great creator. Envisioning a proper portal or mental impression on the subconscious may include any number of glyphs found among the Babali tablets. True knowledge and self-honesty are also adamantly necessary for perceiving existence as it truly is from the perspective of its designers, as opposed to the way in which people have been programmed to experience it. Ritual and meditative incorporation of key glyphs and symbols for each individual step on the ladder of lights or star tower may aid the modern gatekeeper in tuning in to the frequency vibration of each gate current. Now, if you haven't gotten your Megillah, Holy Megillah yet, it also talks about the ladder of lights, right? And just I figure I'd throw that out there. The Annunaki Stargate System, Origins of the Ladder of Lights and the Kabbalah. That's the title of this next section. The Babali Annunaki Stargate System can be a difficult model to relay using two-dimensional imagery. Those with previous mystical experience with rivals of similar lore from semantic or Assyrian Kabbalistic models may have an easier time with this. Then it has reference 114, which says Kabbalah. Alternatively, the Druids' Kabbalah of concentric spheres operating at exceedingly higher frequencies until they reach the all, or Kujant. See also Druid Complete. You don't hear a lot of people talking about the Druids. I hear very few people talking about the Druids, right? They like to remove the full term and just give you like half terms. Is just Kabbalah, right? And now that they just call it Kabbalah, they say it so much in reference to certain groups of people that now when you think of Kabbalah, you think of Jewish people, right? And nobody ever thinks of Druids, right? And how all of this originated. They think, the Jewish people just created this. They were, no, you need to go back a little bit further. They're just taking credit for it. I'm just saying, we ain't gonna get into that today. Some people get triggered by the word Kabbalah. Okay. And it was just a little side note. Uncle JB, Grand Rising. Oh, great spirit, fill us with your presence so that we glorify you wherever we are in this world. Hallelujah. All right. The Kabbalah is actually based on this earlier Babali lore. It is alluded to in the book of Nemesis, which is also entitled the Enuma Elish, Tablet N, and the book of 50 Names of Marduk, Tablet F, but the practical side of the system is reserved for the priests. And it has a reference 115, and reference 115 says, see also Enochian Magic and the Kabbalah by Joshua Free, also available in the Year 3 Mardukite anthology, History of the Necronomicon, edited by Joshua Free. A lot of these foot references, where they say by Joshua Free, you can find most of these. I'm gonna say most of them because I got about half his library now. Some of these references I already got in my personal library. I haven't gone through all of them yet. It's really only like 2 other ones that I've opened up. But you can go to Amazon and you can type in Joshua Free and you will see his whole library that he has up there, right? He's a really good reference point, just in case you were wondering, right? I mean, if you haven't realized that by now. Okay, so after it said the practical side of the system is reserved for the priest and gives that footnote, it gives a picture of the Annunaki Stargate system, right? And so if you're familiar with the Kabbalah, some of the pictures and stuff that they show, Trina, hey girl, hey, this might look a little familiar to you. But when you see them do it, or you may have also seen it in some of Manly Hall's books, and not just him, it's quite a few people. George, I forget his last name. A lot of people use it, but you'll normally see the body, and then you will see the macabre around it with the circles and all that stuff. So, but the basis of it comes from Sumeria, right? Then Babylon, then Egypt, then branched out to all the other places in the world, just in case you didn't know. Okay. Descriptions of the original Mesopotamian ladder of lights model are seldom explored in contemporary mysticism. In the Stargate depiction shown here, the gatekeeper will see a dual pyramid, one in the heights of heaven and one in the depths of material existence, earth. But these are actually one and the same pyramid of existence, not to mention the Qliphoth that resides in the spaces in between, encompassed by the etheric all that entangles all existence as one, all as one. And I'll show it to you again. As revealed during initial independent Mardukite Chamberlain research and experimentation with the traditional gate procession, we found the order to be valid, but as a matter of perception. What we might interpret as the first or lowest gate can actually be folded up to meet the peak of the pyramid. And also when we get into the OASP, right? Some of what we're going to find out in here is like the design of the OASP. Remember how I told you it's split halfway through? The top is considered as above, so below. They coincide and they run together, but obviously we can't read them like at the same time. We have to read one, then read the other. And we might just flip back and forth from top to bottom so we kind of stay on the same page, you know. We about to start, but I better figure out how we're gonna do it. I'm sure it makes sense once we start. I mean, it makes sense now, but I'm just not sure. Should we finish like maybe like it's a whole chapter? Should we do like the whole chapter? And then, well, yeah, I think we're at least going to do it by chapters, but they're like sections with multiple chapters in the sections. I don't think we're going to go through a whole section and then go through the bottom whole section. I think we're going to do a chapter from the section, then go below to a chapter from here, so you can see how they run along that same congruent line, so we don't get too far and forget. You know, I hope we don't get screwed up while we're reading it like that. And we'll see. We'll see. Okay, essentially, the heights meet the depths and are unified in an all-encompassing existence bound together as in total, correlative to 10 plus 1 dimensions that mystical scientists discover makes up all existence, reality. Even what you are unable to perceive from your position in existence and human faculties, and yet it is all interconnected with the all nonetheless, whether or not we are aware of this all encompassing relationship. The many gates can just as easily be seen as one or even none, since it is the fragmented mind which separates our existence from the whole. By ascending the course, we are consciously making the effort to travel backwards to the source from which we were removed, or rather, which was removed from us via the fragmentation into varied shells. Right? So he said there's never been a break between us and the one. It's only our perception of being separate, right? So we got to deal with this. We have to develop this. We have to unfragment this in order to see the big picture that we're all as one. Like, Shayla, hey girl, hey. From the earth point of view, we must access the ladder of lights by ascending the pyramid, essentially backwards from our side, meaning to first access it through the earth gate, the spirit man or the self, which is number 0. And this is where the chakras, understanding about the chakras, really come into place. You have to understand. You may not need to understand the science behind it, but you need to be able to ground yourself and to clear the energies out of your body, right? Whether you want to talk about them as energies, whether you want to talk about them as your organs, because all it is, chakras, is the energy that's produced from the major organs that are lined along your spine, which is called, in medical terms in the Western world, your endocrine system, right? With your endocrine system over here, they say chakras over there. But every major organ in your body produces an energy. You can't see the energy, but we can see from how you act and how you carry yourself, and whether you're sick or whether you're vibrant, if those energies are off. And each one connects and affects the one above it and before it. And some actually they affect one another, because if you can't keep yourself grounded and your just basic survival life is all out of place, you're not gonna be able to access anything going up the ladder. Even your perception is going to be totally off. The only way you can perceive is from the perception of carnality. That is it, right? You will never get anywhere on the ladder of lights with that perception. We have to fix this, right, in order to see, to bring ourselves back into balance. Okay. From the earth point of view, we must access the ladder of lights by ascending the pyramid, essentially backwards from our side, meaning to first access it through the earth gate, the spirit man or the self, which is number 0. And then it has a picture or sigil for that. Just in case you want to study it a little bit. If you ain't got the book, you want to screenshot it. Okay. The 4 quarters. When ceremonial magicians evoke the powers of the universe from within a mandala, a microcosmic ritual circle, they call upon the powers of the 4 quarters, quadrangles, or watchtowers, or we hear the 4 corners of the earth, right? The boundaries of this dimensional universe are bound by the earth gate, which is really one, as are they all, essentially, but is divided by the 4, that which seals this material existence, and the self as the 5th or 0 elemental gate, experiencing the others. In traditional practices, these are colored by correspondences with the 4 elements of nature, though some necronomical practitioners prefer to keep to a more enigmatic theme of black and white throughout, since the tradition is, in fact, composed of the manifold currents of the universe in harmony as one, meaning by both the powers of light and darkness as one in equality. Gatekeeping may be performed with physical ritualization, as in the astral plane. When the gatekeeper conducts the physical ceremonial observations, the energetic currents of the 4 quarters of the universe, or the 4 corners of the universe, are represented in the ritual microcosm, often by tablets. Such tablets can thereby be constructed, envisioned, or even drawn on surfaces for temporary use to aid the mind of the magician. So remember how we talked about Remember how we talked about Bruce Leroy's belt and that medallion that his master gave him? He said, you needed something, right? A lot of times he said, but a true master would have used this to hold up his pants, right? You don't need all the extra stuff like they get in magic, and they talk about using the candles. You know, we talk about it a lot, using the candles or circles and all this stuff. A true magician or a true master would use this to hold up his pants, right? Or he used these candles to light his house. But he ain't using it for this because he realized all of this is already in him, right? All of those things, all the manipulatives is simply to help you envision what you're trying to do, is to help the mind stay on course. Never forget that. Never forget that, right? Because people get super spiritual and crazy with a lot of this excess stuff. Not that it doesn't work. It'll work for you. That's why some people, they can do magic and they're using all different stuff. And somebody show me how to do that and don't work for them. It's because it's a mind thing. It really is. You don't need goat's hair and a tooth from a witch and oil from a certain type of fish. You don't need all of this stuff. Like, seriously. When you really understand it, you realize none of that stuff is needed at all. Once you can understand how powerful this is, you can simply think and it be done, right? But I realize it truly is a blessing that, especially understanding what I know now and the way the world is now, I believe it's a blessing that majority of the world has been cut off from its true natural power until they learn discipline. Now, I almost want to say at this point, it was designed to be that way on purpose, right? Because for those who are going to be true magicians, if you want to use those type of terms, or true prophets or true priests or true ones dedicated to the creator, whatever term you want to use, those true and get to walk in the ancient schools or the ancient schools of mysticism, there first must be a discipline that you have to enforce upon your own self, right? You have to take the initiative to discipline yourself before higher wisdom will begin to come to you. I'm almost certain at this point in my life that all of everything that's happening, it was designed to be this way on purpose. In order, it's just like a seed going into the ground, right? We know that this seed yields this type of plant or this type of fruit, but we can just leave the seed out and not put it in the right type of environment, and it'll never crack. It'll never break. It'll never begin to produce roots that go down deep and then blossom this beautiful thing, something that could be eaten, something just beautiful for the eyes to see, something that can, feed the bees and the birds. We never see that if it's not placed in the right environment. I believe we as human spirits, encased in the flesh, in a world of chaos, is the right environment for us. And while we're looking at everything, oh my gosh, this is so horrible, nation fighting against nation, it was designed to be this way on purpose. This is the right environment for spirits to grow and develop and flourish, right? There has to be a breaking. There has to be a cracking. No matter what race, every race of people has its own, it's a different type of seed, right? Whether it's Black people in slavery or I know it's not we're not going to get on terms. Let's say American Indians, how they teach us American Indians, whether they're over here and you got the Trail of Tears and all the different things and what happened in Japan and what happened over here in China. Something happens everywhere for certain groups of people, because each certain group of people is a certain type of seed, is a certain type of spirit. And in order to fully flourish and do what your type of seed, what you were designed to do to be beautiful in this world, to manifest, there's a certain type of pressure that you need to be applied to you. And if we were taught that from the very beginning, our outlook on life and being here on the earth would be totally different, right? We would truly submit ourselves to the discipline that we have to initiate ourselves, right? That's why even with slavery, just go with the example, people. Go with the example. Even with slavery, it is kind of horrible example, but it's kind of like one of the best examples, right? Not that it was right. Get what I'm saying? Not that it was right? But it's, even you have you could beat some slaves into submission, and because of the beating, they would submit because they were afraid. But then you have some where the discipline, and the whole point of saying this is because when discipline is involved evoked on you like from the outside, it doesn't necessarily have the right results or the results that you would desire. Because if you force somebody to what's the word, if you try and force somebody in submission against their will, it kind of creates the opposite effects of what you really want, right? Just like you can look at that and look at like actual job and employee. Maybe I should have just used like the employee instead of slaves, because people sometimes they get tricked about it. Okay, let's switch from that, but it's still like the same concept. Okay, so say you have a company, right? And you have employees. Now, depending on the type of atmosphere you create at your job or on your job sites or whatever in relation to your employees, you have employees who love the company, who tell other people about the company, who love the owners of the company, because the owners, they are people, they're people. They look out for their employees because they realize they really wouldn't have a company if it wasn't for the employees. Yeah, we thought up the idea and everything, but we need people to join our team in order to bring this whole thing to fruition, to make it work, because one or two people can't do the job of a big time company, right? So you got to treat your employees right, offer them benefits as you grow, just develop as you go, make sure the atmosphere is non-hostile. If there's an issue that pops up and it causes like like a disruption in the morale of your people, it should be handled immediately. If there's somebody that's causing trouble, maybe they're not a good fit for the team, or before you decide to fire them, okay, hey man, what's going on? Because it could be some issues they're having at home. Is it something that we can do to help? Could it be the pay? Okay, well, this is what you need to do to get to this position. Let us help you, right? It's kind of like that. So if you have like good owners of a company who actually look out for their people and help their people to grow, those people will literally actually take the initiative to do what they need to do to help the company better. And in the process, they also benefit. They get promoted. And if they go so high to where they can't be promoted any higher, they actually open up other doors for them to go to another company, or maybe even start their own company to begin to make what they're now worth. Y'all see what I'm saying? To whereas if you have a company and you kind of trying to beat them in submission, do this because I said so, but it's like, no, I don't care. I'm the boss. You do this. It doesn't really make for a good atmosphere. So you have people that go into rebellion. People start stealing from you. All kinds of crazy stuff could happen, right? So it's kind of like the same thing being here on earth with the spirits. Certain pressures were designed to be natural to cause you to grow. It's like a discipline, but it's not being enforced on you. You still have to submit yourself to the growth process here in the world. Now, it gets kind of messy when other humans decide to put themselves over some of these growth processes and try and make you grow because they want to benefit for their own filthy lucre and their own pleasure at the expense of other human beings. That was never the way it was supposed to be, right? This was designed to be a place of certain types of pressures for us to realize that it's disciplines we have to submit ourselves to in order to grow, right? Just like working out, you want a muscular body. Well, submit yourself to the discipline of getting up, going to the gym, and being consistent, right? Yeah, it's gonna hurt a little bit, but after you get through that little learning curve, or through that curve of, oh my gosh, I'm tired, or it hurt, you got to push through that. Once you push through that, that's when you begin to see results, right? It's the same exact way with the spirits, okay, and how we grow. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Okay, well, next time, put them in the refrigerator. All right, Zay, you need to pause this. It's too loud. Okay, let me get back here. Where we at? We at 29 minutes. Okay. We about done with this anyway. Okay. So let me finish this so we can get to the what you call it. All right. I pause. Okay. In traditional practices, these are colored by correspondences within the four elements of nature through some necronomical practice. Though some necronomical practitioners prefer to keep to a more enigmatic theme of black and white throughout, since the tradition is, in fact, composed of the manifold currents of the universe in harmony as one, meaning by both the powers of light and darkness as one in equality. Gatekeeping may be performed with physical ritualization and in the astral plane. When the gatekeeper conducts the physical ceremonial observances, the energetic currents of the four quarters of the universe are represented in the ritual microcosm, often by tablets. Such tablets can thereby be constructed, envisioned, or even drawn on surfaces for temporary use to aid the mind of the magician. Remember that the gates are simply bound to the perception and the, I'm sorry, remember that the gates are simply bound to the perception of the elements on our side of existence, and this should help you understand the related correspondences critical for success, so as long as they are not distracting from the goal of oneness, so as not to slight out the novice. Some important rudimentary keys to elementalist ritual craft are, and it gives north, east, south, and west, and it gives a description of of everything. North is earth, green, black, salt, altar stone. East is air, yellow, purple, incense, and wand. South is fire, red, white, flames, blade. West is water, blue, orange, liquid, and cauldron. The images which are to follow are from the modern Mardukite realization of the Babylon text and the Stargate depiction used to encase an elemental seal of each watchtower. These can also be used for envisioning the gates in astral practices. This practical application of star lore found here may be coupled with information given throughout this Necronomicon and Anunnaki Bible, and also our companion text, Gates of the Necronomicon, and it has reference 116, and it says specifically the Liber 50 materials released as Sumerian Religion by Joshua Free. And also our companion text, Gates of the Necronomicon, to form a composite tradition, both spiritually and ritually comparable and superseding similar mystical and magical operations and systems. And then it has reference 117. Mystical and magical orders, such as found in Freemasonry or Rosicrucian mystical, and also the magical Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, and it has in parentheses GD, Ordo Templis Orientis OTO, and Crowley's AA, and even Aurum Solis. Yeah, Aurum Solis. So all of these different orders, Rosicrucian, Freemasonry, they are taking all of these different, they're pulling out pieces and using it for their particular order, right? And a lot of people think that a lot of that stuff just originated with them. No, that everything is coming. Every religion has taken something from the ancient Sumerian text, even the Christian Bible, all of them. That's why all the religions take everything. It comes from nothing else. Everything, all of the religions pull everything, bits and pieces from the ancient Sumerian text. Okay. Ceremonial applications that have already proven useful to modern practitioners include the opening by watchtower or formula of the watchtowers, and it has reference 118. See also Sorcerer's Handbook 20th edition, 20th anniversary edition by Joshua Free, or Arcanum, the Great Magical Arcanum by Joshua Free. Okay. Let me read that again. Ceremonial applications that have already proven useful to modern practitioners, including the opening by watchtower or formula of watchtowers, adopted from the Anunnaki Enochian system, and then blended with portions of the Chaldean oracles of Zoroaster, Tablet O. In their self-honest simplicity, the mystical applications of accumulated lore within the Mardukite Necronomicon cycle is essentially thought to be self-evident and forthright based on the seeker's own purification, dedication, and invocations. Okay, so now we have the North Gate, gate of the formless hunter and of the abyss or nothingness. Thee I invoke, the bornless one who brings the cleansing darkness. Spirits of the northern gate, open your mysteries unto me. The gate of the scales of judgment and the outside, from which comes the host and fiends. Manifest the shield of Ara, spirit and truth in my hands, and protect me from the fires of the destroyer. Gatekeeper of the northern gate, remember, open wide the gate. Spirit of the gate of the north, thou art conjured. And that's the sigil for the north gate. Right. The east gate. Gate of the east, gate of the rising star and of the rising sun. Spirits of the eastern gate, open your mysteries unto me. Gate of the forgotten memory, stir up your light in my head. Kindle the warm fires of remembrance in my being. Protect me from the light so blinding, and bring clarity to the washed out childhood memory. Gatekeeper of the eastern gate, remember, open wide the gate. Spirit of the gate of the east, thou art conjured. Lindsay, Yah Shalom, Boker Tov. What is the bornless one? This is the first time it mentioned it, right? The bornless one. I want to say, just from reading it, the bornless one, I would say is the creator of all, the bornless one. Okay. The south gate. Gate of the fiery angel and of the star fire. Spirits of the southern gate, open your mysteries unto me. Gate of the fires of Baal, manifest the sword of fire, truth and spirit in my hands, and protect me from the destroyer and the destroyed. In the names of the most holy armies of Marduk and Enki, stand firmly by my side during the decision, judgment. Gatekeeper of the southern gate, remember, open wide the gate. Spirit of the gate of the south, thou art conjured. And that's for the gate of the south here. Gate, the west gate. Gate of the twilight shadows and of the setting sun. Spirits of the western gate, open your mysteries unto me. Gate of the symphony of light and darkness, kindle the cold dark blue flame in my head, and protect me from the sorrow of remembrance. Gatekeeper of the western gate, remember, open wide the gate. Spirit of the western gate, thou art conjured. And this is right here. All right, so since we're at 37 minutes, we'll pause right here, right? It's a few more pages, but they're literally just like a little small paragraph like that. But it has the sigils for like Anu, Enlil, Nana, Ishtar, Nabu, Marduk, Ninurta. We'll pause. We'll pause right here and we'll do those tomorrow, right? Because I want to read this, what you call it. So we'll pause right here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and hop on over to, I got a minute, sis. What the ancients would have their disciples to know. Move this over here. Hold on. This light coming through. Okay, let's close that. All right, that's better. I like the sun, but sometimes it can be a bit of, Okay. It's here. Hold on, I gotta adjust my screen, y'all. I can't find my iPad. I don't know what Bella did with it, and it's probably dead anyway. Or either I left it in the truck. Let me not automatically blame it on her. All right. I lost my place again. Hold on. When I did that. Hold on, y'all. Let me find the 14th. Oh, no. Right. Nope. Nope. 1 and 2. What is the number? No. Hold on. I gotta blow it up. Hold on. Sorry, y'all. It just looks a little different. In the last few years, No. Okay, we passed that part. I need to go to the first numbers. 1 and all things. Oh yeah, first purify your own life. Okay, there we go. Number 2. Three. Where's 3? Okay, so we'll start right here. Okay. We didn't like this. Well, it's not really broken up by chapters. They call it essay, but put it in book form. Okay, so we're at number 3. Matter of fact, let me just start it at number 1 again. Okay, hold on. God, this is plucking my nerve. Let's go right here. No, right here. Okay. Who was at number 4? Let's start at 4. 4. This is plucking my nerves. Every time okay. All right. Without labor, there is no inspiration, and none can do our work for us but ourselves. The ancient wisdom demanded many years of purification and preparation before adepts were willing to instruct even in the simplest things. Many modern occultists Mom, are glibly Mommy, teaching. You already yes. did the blessing. No, not yet, too. They haven't done it yet. Hold on. Okay. I'll be done in a second, Pooh. Many modern occultists are glibly teaching Pythagorean mathematics and numerology. And even if you come every afternoon for a week, you will be greatly amazed how little you will discover. Then wonder why it is that many of the keys of the Pythagorean mysteries have been lost to the world. The answer is simple. Pythagoras never instructed his disciples in any of his philosophical concepts until after they had passed through 5 years of the strictest discipline. Among other things, one provision being that during the entire time they were not to speak a word in order that afterwards they might know how to hold their tongues. We would have much less trouble if our psychologists refrained from speaking for the first 5 years, for most of them are preaching with no more foundation for their eloquence than 2 weeks' study with someone no better informed than themselves. Number 5, there is another class of people who go about discussing the infinite with ease and fluency, who as yet never acquainted themselves with the finite. Most interesting rule of the ancient wisdom is that none of its initiates discuss the absolute. They explain the hypothesis of first cause, but state finally that no human being, themselves included, know sufficient concerning it to give an intelligent opinion or definition, and no wise man presumes to discuss that about which he knows nothing. When Buddha was asked concerning the absolute being who we call Yah, the creator of all, when Buddha was asked concerning the absolute, he declined to discuss the subject. He was also silent concerning the gods, feeling that they were beyond the range of human intelligence. As a result, it has been said that he was an atheist, or at least a pantheist, when in reality it was his respect and reverence for deity that led him in his sublime wisdom to refrain from giving utterance to words whose very inadequacy would but defile. When the disciples of Socrates questioned him concerning the absolute, he also refused to discuss it, stating that it was beyond his wisdom and that it played no practical part in everyday life. But again, fools dash in where angels fear to tread. That is going to be our title for today. Fools dash in where angels fear to tread. While the greatest minds ever evolved by the human race dare not speak for fear they will desecrate that which is too sacred for words, some person with neither record of accomplishment nor prospect of anything better seeks to impress the uninformed by glibly discussing the things he knows nothing about. Whew. Number 6, there is only one series of true occult exercises in the world, namely esoteric exercises. Every nation has adopted these exercises with certain modifications to meet the needs of race, color, and organic qualities. The Christians took theirs from the Jews from the Egyptians from the Brahmins, and so on ad infinitum. When Buddha gave his faith to India, he merely gave a doctrine for the consideration of the common people. For being a Brahmin himself, he followed the Brahmin culture of esoteric exercises. The so called occult exercises are those formulas given by word of mouth by the initiates to their disciples under the pledge of absolute secrecy in order that these disciples may use the exercises in spiritualizing, etherizing, and purifying their bodies. All right, sir. Love you. Okay. I will check. I will be watching. Also. Yep, you need to check on your order and see it. Take about 3 weeks for me to get here. I'll be looking for it. All right. One of the most reprehensible crimes perpetrated today is the teaching by present-day occultists of crazy, homicidal, and suicidal practices under the guise of esoteric instructions. If followed persistently, these practices will result in the death of those who attempt to follow them. The redeeming feature is that the average Western mind is incapable of concentrating long enough or consistently enough upon anything to be seriously harmed. And that, when I looked at the discipline, I got this thing about studying discipline. So while my kids be in karate, I don't just drop them off. So I sit there and watch them, right? The Western world definitely has this thing about not being disciplined, at least not being disciplined in ways that most of the world is, right? So, granted, little kids' energy all over the place. But I look online at some of the dojos that are actually over in Japan, and the one that they're a part of, it is actually an extension of one of the major ones in Japan, right? So they actually have tournaments, and some of them travel to Japan to have these little tournaments and stuff, right? And all over the world. My kids just start they ain't even near real close on that level. They still trying to keep still without wiggling. But the point is, even some of the older ones, as they progress, the discipline that I see here is like completely different from the discipline. Like, if you would look at the adults, because they have adult classes as well, granted, they keep still, but there's this I don't know, there's just like a discipline that can't be matched. Like the Western cannot, it's like the Western is completely, everybody over here is like toddlers all over the place. Like nobody can keep still and nothing. Looking at the discipline of the youngest children that they have in their dojo, how they're all uniform. Y'all seeing on movies and stuff, even with the armies marching, everybody's in unison, nobody breaking stride or nothing. It baffled me that you could get tiny kids, all of them, real tiny. They got smaller, I ain't gonna say smaller bones, but their frames are smaller anyway. So all these little tiny children, perfect unison, speaking together on one accord. And I'm just baffled looking at them and looking at the dog. I'm like, oh, how far have we fallen from the tree? As I'm watching this, I'm like, what in the world are we doing over here? The entire West is all out of control. Eating habits out of control, thinking everything is out of control compared. That's something that they have down that we need great help on here. Not saying everybody. I know some of y'all, most of y'all, if not all of y'all got really good discipline about yourself. Me, I ain't quite there yet, right? Ugh. But I'm just saying, it is amazing to me how the Eastern world has that maybe not all Eastern world, but most of it's just they understand discipline a little bit better than most of us over here. And it baffles me. Not really baffles, but it's just something you have to submit yourself to, right? And it's crazy as I really look at it. It's really, you really have to fight against your own thoughts and how you've been programmed. You literally have to retrain and reprogram yourself, right, in order to get any kind of benefit out of your life or grow any kind of way that's going to be profitable for you in the days to come. All right, I just wanted to put in that little side note. Okay. One of the most reprehensible crimes perpetrated today is the teaching by present day occultists of crazy, homicidal, and suicidal practices under the guise of esoteric instructions. If followed persistently, these practices will result in the death of those who attempt to follow them. The redeeming feature is that the average Western mind is incapable of concentrating long enough or consistently enough upon anything to be seriously harmed. And that's why I brought in that whole example of karate and the not being disciplined like they are over there. Most people they can't get up consistently in the morning and pray, right? So that's why really nothing happens. There's like really no power or anything because the discipline is going out the window, right? So whether you looking for anything good or even being harmed seriously bad, you don't have to worry about it. You're not even disciplined enough to even stick to something that might harm you where it actually has the power to harm you. You're just not gonna be that consistent to do that. So we ain't worried about it. Anybody worried about the West? Until they can get their eating habits under control, ain't nobody worried about the West. Ain't nobody worried about us doing nothing, right? We got to show up, people. We got to show up. The redeeming feature is that the Western average mind is incapable of concentrating long enough or consistently enough upon anything to be seriously harmed. All the esoteric instructions in the hands of unqualified people today are the result of treason and broken vows among the lower degrees of initiates. So those who leaking information, y'all weren't supposed to say nothing. They only have this because you weren't disciplined enough to keep it a secret. Right? So I'm learning about these things. Not that it needs to be kept a secret, but you don't want to give keys to your brand new vehicle to your 5-year-old child or your 9-year-old child. Like my 9-year-old son, Mom, please let me back up the car. First of all, do you think driving Mario Kart qualifies you to actually drive a real vehicle in real life? Absolutely not. Every single day, I get a question from Josiah to let me asking me if he can drive the car down the street and come back or just pull it out the driveway. Can he even just put it? Absolutely not. You better keep your hands off my vehicle. Don't you dare put your hands on my steering wheel. Like I'd be ready to karate chop him, right? So now I got to watch my keys and stuff. And if he's to get it, it's because of our irresponsibility, right? Those who should not put things this powerful in the hands of those who are not ready. It's our fault. It's not theirs. They're chomping at the bit to get it, right? Just like people looking for stuff. No, we're not gonna get it to you, because you can't handle it yet, right? You can't even handle. No, let me not even get into that. Let's keep going. Okay, but y'all get what I'm saying, right? All right, let me read this again. The redeeming feature is that the average Western mind is incapable of concentrating long enough or consistently enough upon anything to be seriously harmed. All the esoteric instructions in the hands of unqualified people today are the result of treason and broken vows among the lower degrees of initiates. And a lot of people up here online too, trying to teach some stuff or going into stuff. First of all, you're not even qualified to be teaching, bro. Right? In order to receive them from such sources, the recipient must become a party to the crime. Not only this, but when the student permits himself to listen to instructions gained falsely, he nullifies any good which he might otherwise gain. Also, like what we kind of talk about, if I had broken the vow when I ordered the Holy Megillah, if I had broken those vows of reading this online, even sharing it with y'all, even going to Zoom, right? It would disqualify me from I would say, I ain't gonna say forever, but if I couldn't even keep that little thing with not putting certain things out here. Not that people don't need it, they absolutely need it. But when you've been trained and you can handle it, and it's time for you to actually begin to walk in some of this wisdom, it'll be ready for you. Because when the student is ready, the teacher appears. But if you don't just take the stuff and put it out there, the more I learn day by day about not having loose lips about stuff, I gain a little bit more wisdom on why. And it becomes more clear as the days go by. Now, I've seen somebody break this vow, and it really kind of destroyed this person's credibility all the way around, because they thought they were doing a good thing. They want to get y'all information like me. I want to get y'all information. But when there's a something absolute right there, do not do that. That's like a test for you, the one who's been given the wisdom, the one who's been given the knowledge. That's like your first test at every level, just to see what you're going to do with the little bit we give you, right? Because like I say, even in the Holy Megillah, what you have there, that's not all. That's just what can be released to the lower levels, right? But if you read some of the other information, it tell you that there's certain information that they did not put in there. Some people that get this, they would not go to higher levels. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to. They're just not going to be able. They're just not going to get this next level of information because they can't be consistent and diligent with what they're learning here and just putting it into practice and living by it. Some people, they just have not discipline themselves enough to go to higher levels where you receive more. That's just the way it is, right? That's why you can't be out here just freely giving out stuff. I mean, certain things, y'all get what I'm saying, right? But I understand that a little bit more as the days go by, because when you give stuff out like that, and people who don't understand or they haven't gone through the proper channels of discipline, they get out there and they screw stuff up. They screw people's lives up. They get up there and try and teach stuff that they have no clue about. They teaching it wrong. And it causes a mess that has to be straightened out by those ones who've actually went through the discipline levels. They got to bring it back into balance. Like the teacher on the beginning of Doctor Strange, how her rogue students got all out of balance and they about destroying the world. So she had to go in and use some of that dark magic to bring back into balance. And what, not necessarily dark magic, but it's a more fierce energy, because they've tapped into a fierce energy about during killing themselves in the world. So she has to get an even fiercer energy to bring that back into balance. Shut it off, right? All right, so let me see what time we at. 57. Okay, we got a couple more minutes. Okay. Go back to this. Okay. All the esoteric instructions in the hands of unqualified people today are the result of treason and broken vows among the lower degrees of initiates. In order to receive them from such sources, the recipient must become a party to the crime, right? So if somebody, I got this information. Well, where you get it from? Is it hot, right? Somebody's selling you hot CD. Remember how they used to burn CDs with movies and music and stuff, and they hot? Yeah, when you accept this hot merchandise, you become party to the crime, right? So if somebody even got some information that shouldn't be distributed publicly, I'm gonna give it to you for free. I'm gonna send it to you. No, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase it myself. I'm gonna get the official license. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. No, I'm gonna go ahead and purchase it myself, right? When you accept hot merchandise, you become party to their crime, right? And you get in trouble too. All right. All the esoteric instructions in the hands of unqualified people today are the result of treason and broken vows among the lower degrees of initiates. In order to receive them from such sources, the recipient must become a party to the crime. Not only this, but when the student permits himself to listen to instructions gained falsely, he nullifies any good which he might otherwise gain. Having obtained the instructions without the necessary preparation and apprenticeship ordered by the great school, he cannot receive the spiritual insight that he desires. It breaks the hearts of the masters to see people who know better dabbling with so-called esoteric exercises, gathering in circles to go into the silence, rolling their eyes into the tops of their heads, and sitting in darkened rooms hoping to see something. It is not the mere fact that the student does these things which hurts the teachers. It is the fact that the disciples have grown so little in discrimination that it is possible for them to become parties to such absurdities, right? It's not what you're doing is wrong, although you look a little crazy, but you should know better by now. How would you even allow yourself to be caught up in this foolishness, right? And that's what the teachers look at. Almost. I'm almost done. Got a couple more minutes. All right. It is not the mere fact that the student does these things which hurts the teachers. It is the fact that the disciples have grown so little in discrimination that it is possible for them to become parties to such absurdities. We do not mean that they will not see things, hear voices, and gain certain mediumistic powers. We mean that they will be less useful after they have secured those powers than before, for they will have to unlearn again all those things and habits which they learned unwisely. Number 7, the masters are ever waiting to entrust their disciples and students who show desire to receive that wisdom which the world so sadly needs. If the student desires to go forth and teach, he will be given a work to do. Okay. If the student desires to go forth and teach, he will be given a work to do. That is, if he will honestly, sincerely, and intelligently prepare himself for his labors. The reason why so many false doctrines are being taught is that people who have an idea do not ask themselves, is this theory which I have true? Am I living the sort of life that will permit me to receive real truth into my soul? Am I unselfish, open, obedient, humble, and consecrated? Have I developed my mind so that it can think? Have I opened my heart so that it can feel? If I have not, then the thing which I have received is distorted by the glass through which it shines. Whew. Boy, let me read that again. Hold on. If I have not, then the thing which I have received is distorted by the glass through which it shines, and all I can give the world is a distorted image, a dishonest representation of the truth. Have I actually consecrated my life and all that I am unselfishly, without reservation, or am I only an intellectual dabbler, right? And a lot of people we see out here in pulpits and other areas of the world where they're teaching, they're intellectual dabblers, right? They will have you to think that they have it all together and they're living this perfect life. But if we were just flies on the wall, not that everybody's perfect, but you will make mistakes. If you can fess up to your mistakes when you make mistakes, or if you do something that's off, if you have the let's say the courage and the the honesty to go back and correct it, even if you did it in a front of a bunch of people, you would need to, if you messed up publicly, you need to fess up and repent publicly, not behind closed. Oh well, we just gonna do this. Forgive me, y'all, and go on and act like ain't nothing happened to the rest of the world when they clearly know. You begin to lose credibility when you do stuff like that, right? We all have those times where we have to come back when we mess up, or it's just a part of the growth process, and people have to see, for one, that you're transparent, especially if you're a teacher or somebody that they're going to follow, or somebody that they rely on for what they think is good information that they could use. They have to know that you are human too, and if you mess up, okay, they're human, but they fixed it. Okay, let's move on, right? It's a part of the growth process. Some people just hold you up on the pedestal, and if you make a mistake, then they damn you to hell for the rest of your life. Their perception of you is wrong. They think of you as you're a god in a perfected state, and you're absolutely not. We're absolutely not, right? It's a growth process for everybody. Okay. Where we at? We gotta pause this. I'm gonna pause this after this little next one. A minute and an hour and 4 minutes. Okay. All right. Let me finish reading this. Number 7. Hold on. Let me just go back. The reason why so many false doctrines are being taught is that people who have an idea do not ask themselves, is this theory which I have true? Am I living the sort of life that would permit me to receive real truth into my soul? Am I being unselfish, open, obedient, humble, and consecrated? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
What if I could do this?
Zay, wait a minute. You just talking about your hair. Hold on. Wait a minute. He's still gonna talk about his hair. Isaiah, wait a minute. Your hair can do that, so stop it. Is this theory which I have true? Am I living the sort of life which would permit me to receive real truth into my soul? Am I unselfish, open, obedient, humble, and consecrated? Have I developed my mind so that it can think? Have I opened my heart so that it can feel? If I have not, then the thing which I have received is distorted by the glass through which it shines, and all that I can give the world is a distorted image, a dishonest representation of the truth. Have I actually consecrated my life and all that I am unselfishly and without reservation? Or am I only an intellectual dabbler? Am I a success or a failure in life? Am I surrounded by friends or by enemies of my own making? Am I respected by my community? Do I allow other people to live their own lives, or am I trying to force my beliefs upon all with whom I come in contact? Have I or have I not, consciously and beyond all possibility of mental exaggeration, received personal instruction from the inner schools? I and I alone know that. The rest of the world, except for the enlightened few, must believe what I say. If I have not received such instructions, am I big enough to admit it and say, with respect to my doctrines, that they are only my own opinions? Or am I palming off these opinions as cosmic truths upon no firmer ground than the fact that I believe them? All of these questions the student must ask himself. We all must ask ourselves these questions, y'all, as we grow, in order to receive the deeper spiritual things. If we don't go through this process, all we get is what we currently have, because we don't even qualify ourselves to begin running this race, right? All of these questions the student must ask himself, for he alone can answer them. But if he is capable of injuring many, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay, let me go back. All of these questions the student must ask himself, for he alone can answer them. But he is capable of injuring many if he is not honest in his statements concerning these fundamental truths. If every teacher and student would thus interrogate himself, endless sorrow could be avoided, for he would realize that as an evil tree cannot bring forth good fruit, neither can a sin-filled body nor a perverted mind be the channel for the transmission of wisdom. Bruh, let me read that again. Listen. If every teacher and student would thus interrogate himself, endless sorrow could be avoided, for he would realize that as an evil tree cannot bring forth good fruit, neither can a sin-filled body nor a perverted mind be the channel for the transmission of wisdom. Like begets like, and the eccentric individual thinks eccentric thoughts, while the sane mind views all things sanely. Psychologists today teach how one person may influence another to do things otherwise foreign to his nature. Let each student of the mystery school be careful, therefore, when he studies with psychologists, that the psychologist does not turn the tables on him. If he teaches you how to gain some advantage over another and twist that individual to your own ends, take care that he does not discover your gullibility and capitalize on you by way of demonstrating the application of his own philosophy. These things work both ways. And if you expect to psychologize others, you must expect to be psychologized in turn. For it is a poor rule that does not work both ways. It is, however, a good rule which most people are willing to have turned around and applied to them. Psychology and psychology has psychologized the public, and like the children of Hamlintown who followed the Pied Piper, Immature minds have followed false teachings until they have disappeared into the unknown. We're going to pause right here. Right here, y'all. This is good. I got to save my spot right here just in case I don't find my iPad. I'm sure I will, but my iPad is easy to go back to my last point. But up here, for some reason, it's not. Hold on. Okay. Y'all, that's good.
Mom, what if my hair could do this? Mom,
what if your hair can do that?
What if my hair was a roller coaster and it went like this?
Then that would be pretty fun to watch. Okay, beautiful people. They got their braids taken out, so their hair is all flowy and long down their back. He was like, "What if my hair could do this?" And he turned around like he what do you call it? A what? A helicopter, yeah, like a helicopter. What if my hair could do this? Your hair can do that. So it looks like this. It's all long and stuff. All of them. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead and end this. I hope you all enjoyed the reading for today. It was really, really good. This is if you haven't purchased the book, it's one I do recommend you purchase. Even if you just get it on Kindle, it's $1.99. You can listen to the Audible. It's really good. It's probably one you should listen to like once a month, just to refresh yourself, or read it once a month, because the principles are evergreen and they are so true no matter what part of the world you are at. That's why I figured we should probably put this in before we start reading this meditation one, right? I thought it was a good place to do that. All right, beautiful people. It is Monday, April 4th, 2022. Day 73 of year 4 of reading through the books of the law and the prophets under the 4-year consecutive day count is a 1091. Today we read most of tablet X. I didn't write it here. I just looked at it. Tablet X, and we'll finish the rest of it tomorrow. And we read a little bit more of the little thin pamphlet, What Ancient Wisdom Would Have Its Disciples to Know. Okay. All right, beautiful people. So with that being said, I don't have anything. Oh, yeah. Sabbath days. Because we spotted the new moon Saturday, Sabbath days. I mentioned it yesterday. It's now going to be on Saturday. So this Saturday coming up, we will be observing that as the day of rest. We'll talk about this in a second. Wait a minute. Y'all talking about the water park. They're not even warm enough to go out there yet. All right, y'all. So yeah, Saturday we will be observing the Sabbath, and I think that was it. That's all I needed to say. Yeah. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. May y'all continue to bless us in everything that we touch. May our understanding translate to wisdom for our lives. May we hold our own selves accountable and invoke discipline in our own lives, right? Without having a hand to be put down on us. Let us initiate discipline for our lives ourselves, right? All right, y'all. I love y'all. I'll be back here tomorrow, bright and early, 7:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace. Thanks, Jen. Thanks. All right, y'all. See y'all tomorrow.
Mom.
No, move. Watch out. I'm going to do
it. Can you end it?
No, I'm going to end it. Back up, y'all. Move. Move out the way.
Mom, why are you?
I'm ending it. Move. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Bye.
You already did.